Right then, this is a walk around video for a lovely Honda Civic. This is a rare model actually. It's the 1.8 SI, but it's the SIT, so that means it gets the sat nav. One of the very last of them, so it's 2012. These come with sat nav, as I said. This car's covered just 55,000 miles, so a very low mileage one as well for its age, and it's in fantastic condition. Front of the car, lovely and clean. Lights and lenses clear, intact. Bonnet generally very clean, just the lightest of stone chips. I mean, for a car this 10 years old, it's miles better than most. Near side, absolutely beautifully smooth in the panels. No indentations there that I can see at all. Really good looking alloys on the car, really suit this vehicle as well. The panel works lovely and clean. There's obviously the odd, light brush mark, which you're naturally going to get on, the paintwork, but it's very light indeed. Coming around the back again, all generally very nice. Offside rear, driver's side again, absolutely mirror smooth in the panel work. No indentations at all that are immediately obvious. The remaining panels, absolutely fantastic. It really is in lovely condition, this car. Coming to the boot area now, absolutely huge boots, and it's been kept in really lovely condition back here. Coming to the back of the car, wide opening rear doors, and you've got this gorgeous interior, the half leather Alcantara seats, and most Civics of this age will have been very heavily used with kids in the back, but this one's been treated very gently indeed. Coming to the front now on the passenger side, again lovely and clean. Same with the passenger seat there, which is given minimal use. Finally, just to show you, driver's door card, again lovely and clean. Footwell areas again very clean and tidy. And driver's seat in remarkable condition. Inside the car now, engine's running this section as always, so the dashboard can be seen illuminated. And what a fantastic interior it is. Sat nav you can see working exactly as it should. You can always tell these later models because they get the this kind of textured finish here, which is far more resistant to accidental scratching. But it's been kept wonderfully well, and then I reckon that is the view of the best dash design for decades. It's absolutely stunning, and that's where you should set your driving position, by the way. Steering wheel slap bang between the top of the rev counter and the speedo as well. There you can see 55,681 miles, and of course there are no warning lights illuminated at all. Finally, just to show you, owner's manual pack and lock and nut key all here and present with the car. Right then, this is a quick road test video, and for quite a rare car actually in its own right. This is a Honda Civic 1.8, and it's the SIT model. The T designates it's got the sat nav option basically. This car is registered AV12CFN, and with a very low mileage of just 55,674 recorded. The reason we do all of our videos, and especially actually this road test section, is to ensure that if anyone's actually looking at the car online in an advert, they actually get to see the very car advertised in operation. And the reason we feel it's important is simply because, like so many people, we've been to see cars which have looked absolutely fine in photographs and descriptions, but only to get there and find out that there's actually got a fundamental problem which shows up whilst driving the car. So hence that's why it's done. Also done on these very quiet country roads in this lovely part of Gloucestershire. This actually forms part of the road test route we take our customers on, and the reason we do it is hopefully then it'll be representative of what you'd feel yourself should you be offered a test drive on the car. So coming to the car, clearly it's been very well looked after, and it's immediately obvious when you drive the car. Push button start on this generation Civic, engine whirs silently, quietly into life. No warning lights on the dashboard at all relating to the engine or any other part of the car. Temperature gauge running at a third, which is exactly where it's meant to be on a Honda car, and it's been running for some time now as well. The engine is just a jewel of an engine. It really is, because it does all the things very well indeed. Being a Honda, they're incredibly tough and reliable. I've seen these with monstrous mileages and still sounding as sweet as a nut. But it's also just a lovely engine to use day in, day out, because it's got such a sweet note to the engine when you rev it. It encourages it to be revved, and when you're on a cruise, it's pretty much silent, but it's flexible. It's got plenty of poke when you want it to, and they're ridiculously economical as well. Particularly for this vintage car. I've owned numerous of this generation Civic over the years, and I tend to average 40-ish to the gallon. I mean, it really is. I mean, and I know I could get a lot more when 40 is just driving around. When I go further afield, visit my friends down in Dorset, and just go with the flow of the traffic, I'll be up to 50 plus. So they are incredibly fuel efficient, obviously depending on how you drive the cars. But a lovely engine, lovely engine. Engine then feeds through into the clutch and gearbox. Clutch in the car absolutely perfect as you'd expect. Smooth and silent in operation. Bite point exactly where it's meant to be. And then you come to one of the nicest gear changes you'll ever use. It's all about everything's about the gear lever itself is just beautifully shaped. It's got that lovely kind of tactile feel to it. Your hand kind of wraps around it, sort of almost organic in feel. But the gear change is so slick, short and shift. It's just got that lovely quality of engagement, which Honda do absolutely brilliantly. It's a really satisfying gearbox to use, one that you want to use rather than one that you have to use, and it really is fantastic. And it feels absolutely as it would have done when it was new, because there's just no wear in it at all. Joyous, it really is. And then come on to the chassis, which again is astonishing. It's just like, especially for a 10-year-old car to drive as well as this. The steering is brilliant in them. It's incredibly quick and accurate. It's precise, it's beautifully weighted. It's very hard to criticise the steering in any way. It also, by the way, tracks absolutely dead straight. There's no vibrations at this speed, or at any speed up to the legal limit actually. But going through corners like this, you hardly have to turn the wheel. It's got that kind of go-kart feel to it. But the beauty of it is the chassis can keep up with it, because I've been in many cars where they've had sharp steering, but then the chassis is sort of too soft and it is horrible. This is such a keen car, it really is. But not at the expense of ride comfort. They did quite a few modifications when they did the revamp in 2009, and they've really improved the ride because it's very comfortable. Only the sharpest ridges will catch it out, but there's no nasty knocking noises, no rattles from underneath the car at all. It's all in fine order there as well. But what this car kind of gives, and it's almost kind of the best way to describe it, we have sold loads of Civics, particularly this generation and the one just after, to people who basically need a family car, something more practical than maybe kind of something that sporty that they had previously, but they still want something that drives well, something that is energetic, is kind of is fun basically, and that's in spades. It is a lovely car for just cruising around in, or pushing on a bit. It rewards in every single way. Brilliant car. I'm going to give the brakes a good thump, but really good brake pedal on the car, nice and powerful. No pulsing, no vibrations coming back through the pedal. So all in fine order there. Well, worth pointing out, by the way, that the car, hopefully tomorrow at some point, will be heading off for a new MOT. It was just done independently of us, quite clearly. So finally coming inside the car, it's just arrived to us. It's not been cleaned yet, although it's very clean. Really nicely made cars. There's no squeaks or rattles in here at all. But it's one of those cars, and I've said it a million times in these videos, where it's the definition of a Marmite car. Some people love this interior, others don't at all. They don't like them. I'm in the former camp. I absolutely love them. I think it dares to be different, but it does it in a really nice way, where everything's done for practical purposes, and it works brilliantly. You've got this 2-tier dashboard, obviously everything's working, sat nav, you've got air conditioning which is pumping out absolutely ice cold air, by the way. But then you've just got this gorgeous dash design, which they carried over to the 2012s, but I still prefer this. I love this kind of hologram effect. That's gorgeous down there. But what's genius about it is the fact that not only do I think it looks absolutely fantastic, but it works because, you know, having the speedo high up like that, all by itself, clearly displayed, means that you literally can just look at the road, look at all the hazards on the road, and look at your speed, hardly taking your eyes off the road for a nanosecond. It's genius. But then, as I said, below that we've got this kind of almost a hologram effect where the centre display comes out of the dash. You've got this big rev counter with an information display in the middle of it, and this lovely blue glowing halo going round it. It's stunning, and at night it looks sensational, I have to say. And that's really reminiscent, those who know Hondas well, and I had one of the first generation Honda Preludes, which was called the Prelude because it was a prelude to what would come next, ideas that would go into later model cars. And that is exactly, although in a slightly different form, because it's the other one was very, very analog, this is much more digital looking. It's so reminiscent, it's amazing. But I love it. It's everything's working exactly as it should in here. As I said at the start of the video, the point is, brief as it might be, is just to show the car operating, but the feedback on any obvious issues, of which there's nothing at all. It drives absolutely sensationally, and despite my clear and obvious bias, it genuinely does. As always, if you've got any questions though, do give us a call.